It's your boy Zappa, professional stage ninja, and welcome back to Plebpla. And unboxings. As is tradition, whenever I find something obscure, something non-Gunpla that hasn't already been built, I want to open it up for y'all, because most likely you've never seen this before, or not yet. Here we have the Real Robot Revolution 1/100 scale Gallia Walker from Tomino-Fun-Times number 2, Xabungle. This was made back in 2008, re-released this year. I obtained this as tradition on Hobby Search. That is my go-to, my personal go-to, not sponsored. I don't have any codes, I can't help you. I know people with codes to other places. So check out newtype.com. Maybe I'll put some of my friends' codes in the description for you. I don't know if you'll find this, but you won't have to look much further, because we're going to check this boy out. I already slapped a action-based one in there, you know, for stands. Always have stands. We have a manual, both sides color. It is a 19-page boy that's got a lot of painting opportunities, you know, semantics, details, and all that jazz. And it also came with a little, I guess, memorial handbook. There it goes. It says right on the back. I hadn't thought to look at that. Memorial handbook. Signed by Tominori Kogawa, which I suppose is the character designer for one of Tomino's happier shows when he wasn't sad. This came out shortly after Gundam. I think maybe 2-3 years, give or take. And really all this is just showing off the rest of the models in the line, especially this spread here where you see a lot of the 100 scales and then the smaller non-standard scales, because there's a lot of, it's a show that happens in a prototype Trigun kind of world where everything's all wastelands and dusty and whatnot, and the fancy people have the higher technology and live inside domes, kind of like Big O. But we're not here to review anime. We're here to check out robots. And if that happens again, I thought it very inappropriate and ironic to record during a storm. If the power goes out, we keep on rolling, because the camera doesn't need to be plugged in. But I digress. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 bags. Down here, it looks like we've got actually a few metal rods included as well in this yellow bag, which is usually reserved for hardware like screws that you get in the action bases. So, we'll be back in a few minutes to show you each and every runner, each and everything. So, starting with our runners, in some nice green, we've got runner A, which is going to be a lot of backpack parts, which is what I'm familiar with. Runner B, which looks like shoulder and body parts here. 2 of runner C. This appears to be some arm and some leg pieces. 2 runner D, which is either arm or legs. I'm pretty sure it's the legs, or it's in the spaces in between. 2 of runner E, which are going to be parts like the feet, the hands, kneecaps, elbow caps, and all the such. Runner F here, which is going to be a lot of our weaponry and some other backpack parts here. Somehow I've lost track of runner F. No, that was F. I don't know how to letters. Here's G, that's also got some more backpacks and some beats. G. 2 of runner H, which is also going to be some internal pieces and joints. Runner I, which is weapons and the boomerang launcher. Runner J, more attachment points, more internal parts, and some joints. Two of runner K, which is going to be some accents and some weapon detail. Runner L, which is going to be a lot of our windshields and clear parts. 2 runner N, which is some joint caps and missiles that'll go in the boomerang launcher. Runner N, some tires and some more weapon handles. Runner O, which is some more white parts, which is joints and accents, including pilot figures down here. Runner P, some nice juicy rubbery parts, squish squish. This is going to be parts for the feet. And runner Q, which are tires, actual tires. Our polycap sheet, which is, let's see if it's got a number, PC, please focus. You're not going to focus, are you? You going to do the move? PC 400. And lastly, we have over here 2 extra runners, which are for what I believe are called leg walkers. They're little assistant machines that kind of run around at the feet. Additional firearms and backup for some of the side characters. So, for you, it'll be just a couple of seconds, but for me, this may be up to a couple of weeks of work. I have a full-time job, you know, as well as other Let's Plays and others. Anyway, we'll be back soon to show you the finished product. And here we are, 2 weeks since filming the unboxing. We have the Real Robot Revolution Gallia Walker. It comes in 2 halves. You have the hover half over here, and the galley wheel, I believe, is the term that was used in the one Wikipedia post that I managed to find that actually listed what they were called. So this is probably the galley hover, and I want to show you a thing, and I apologize for the sound this may make. And then watch me fail. Come on. And no! Come on, man! I'm making a fool out of myself. The point being is that that spin. That's what I was trying to get. I was trying to blow it without being too noisy about it. That's a sound that I'm probably going to mute or cut out. Whatever. Let's get up in there and see as many details as we possibly can. Once your boy focuses. Because there is so much internal detail in here, it's preposterous. Over here you have a panel that all it is there for is to show the internal workings. Like, that's all that's for. That serves no form nor function. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this piece off. If I can, huzzah. If not, you'll just have to believe me when I say 3. Nope, that's not. Anyway, inside here, this manhole cover type apparatus actually has a rotating lock wheel, like the kinds that you see inside ships. Over here, you can see just off the glare, there are windshield wipers on there, and here on the sides where you can also see a very unpainted Giron hanging out. We've got guns here next to the face. And in there, you've got what is a searchlight. Underneath here, everything is nice and molded, as you'd expect from like a 100 scale, a 1/100 or a master grade model kit. You've got landing points, hard landing points, both on the shoulders and at the wrists here, so that it rests on the ground without like flopping around on the ground. And of course we saw glorious spinning mechanism here in the hover wheel. And there's nothing else particularly cool to show off in this part just yet. Over here on the galley wheel, as I was playing with earlier, I don't know what the deal is, but this wheel is very tight, but it is a rotating and properly rolling wheel. It plays just like a toy car. You also have these here. These are separately articulated. Are there any neat gimmicks? You've got up front here, you've got clear parts down in there that are for headlights. There are alternative red pieces that you can put in there, which I guess is probably more anime or color accurate, but I didn't use those. Also, I kind of forgot about it. This gun up front here. Uh-oh. Please tell me I didn't break that. I did not break that. One momento. I see exactly what happened. There we go. It was not pressed down in all the way after some fussing. These guns do rotate. Inside here, deep in there, in the lower hatch, you have a unpainted figure of Ragu, depending on how you read your subtitles. And then Chiru, sorry, I was mixing up Jiron. Chiru up here in the top half. This part will rotate, but that's not important just yet. But I will show that back here, there is a panel, a hatch. That, let's see if we can get inside there. Nah, I can't get the lights in there just right. But there is a panel in here for the connectivity. Down here at the feet, these are soft, spongy pieces. Two here in the toes, and a full rubbery panel here for the feet. Of course, you know, feet, that way you have a stable footing, but also it's very accurate to the kind of like treads that you would need to be running around off in the desert as you do. So what we're going to do is, for the first time ever, while I already mentally comprehend it, for the first time I'm going to transform and combine this thing completely while the music plays. Let's go. And here we are, the fully formed Gallia Walker. Now, as I said, I haven't played with this fully transformed yet. I built him, and he got straight on camera. These little extra pieces here are the only transforming parts that you may or may not ever need for this, for the gimmick. It's very neat that it only needs, it doesn't even need the landing gear. That's just landing gear. And if it wasn't too clear as I did it, just inside this wrist piece up here, you can press that other plate out, which I was very concerned about being able to do when it happened. You can push it out and it'll raise it up just enough that you'll be able to pop it back out and put the landing gear back in, should you choose to do so, or if you need to go back and do photography later. So, here we are, ya boy, the Gallia Walker. Comes also with an action-based adapter, which is only really necessary for mounting the hover galley hover on an action base, which I'll probably do in photography. Because back here, we'll bring this in. This plate right here, pop your boy off. And oh, right, there's actually a proprietary piece that I've never used for 100 scale models before. I'm going to take a second and clip that out. This wee piece here, as you can see, will attach to your action base 1. Plug that right in there, and that square fits in nice and firm. I would mind, do mind the front part of things. I'm looking to see, and it just, the only thing that this tip bumps into is the inside of this wheel. So, bam, you can shove it in there. Just mind your other finger, because you will probably bump on these guns, and they are very thin. Do not break. So, that out of the way, and that cover out of the way. Those will all go in a bag somewhere else. And let us behold the most important thing. Articulation. Start with the head. Head's very limited left and right movement because the entire unit is attached to this backpack. If you were to turn it upwards, you get more movement, which does not appear like the limit of movement stops at the shoulder just before the head would collide with this the searchlight on the shoulder. Same on the other side. Just as the head finishes turning, it stops just before running into the searchlight. You get no up and down. That's just wiggle wobble with the weight. No up and down. But I popped that off. That's me. I might affix that later. That's not necessary. But let us consider that this is a very blocky machine designed in the early 80s to be powered with gas. At the arm here, you get unintentional rotation, which means that there we go. Press the shoulders in all the way, because that part's not supposed to move. There are, and I think I can show this. Inside the arm, there are 2 notches right here. Those will fit in place, these notches right here, and that will secure the shoulder piece from over-rotating, considering the combining gimmick. So otherwise, you get a very firm polycap. Full rotation here. Let me turn it to the side here. Full rotation at the bicep. You get more than a 90-degree angle at the elbow because it's designed with this gap. You have one bend and then a little bit more up in there. You have a hand that's on a ball joint. It has a wrist for going back and forth, mostly back, not inside. The thumb is on its own ball joint. Trigger finger also on its ball joint, and then the affixed other 3 fingers. Up here at the head, there's also the machine gun. technically it could turn, but I personally had a lot of problem with it popping off. So I secured this with glue, and also this little antenna right here, which is a very, very tight fit. Mind your hands, mind your strength. And also these two, these antenna back here, you know, lots of little tiny antenna parts. So mind your finger strength. I am clearly some sort of powerful buffoon. There is, oh, I'm trying to grab the waist. There is race rotation. I did not see that coming, boys and girls. And everything in between. So there's that much rotation there before it gets blocked deep inside. The guns up here still move, and you can still see Rag, and Shiru's kind of down in there. And we're gonna arms to side, T-pose for a moment. We're gonna push this head piece up. I am definitely gonna glue that muzzle on there. That's not a function. We're gonna push these guns up at the legs. Full front kick. And full swing to the back. As expected, those legs are heavy. Look at how powerfully heavy those legs are. You get full thigh rotation. This piece up here will move nicely out of your way as you turn those corners. So coming up with the foot, I'm going to get... Okay, so you have... Oh, wait, hold on, let's start from the beginning. You have your natural knee bend, and then extended knee bend. That's a good knee bend, y'all. And then at the feet, you have full flat, because that is part of its, you know, pose. So do mind your wheelie boys. And then individualized toes, as we saw earlier. And then the other important part with legs is how low can you go, G-Ron? No, can we go? Are we going further? Are we going further? That's a good split. What you think, y'all? That's a good split right there. And then, bam. Stand him back up. Squeeze your legs back in there. And of course you can tell he's back heavy. So an action base isn't necessary, but it does come recommended. The other, well, not necessarily accessories, but now we're going to get into the weapons. First little weapon is you get not one, but two worker machines here. They would kind of... These are also actually 1/100 scales, as the pilot figures are the same size. So that is actually some support machines that run around during the series. One of these characters is Maria. She's a pacifist, and then she gets over it. And I forget who the other character is. If you are well versed in Xabungle or can remember my playthrough of Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden, she's one of those. I don't remember. But oh well, let's go ahead. These things do have some articulation in the legs, forward and back. I'm going to bring them up a little closer because they're tiny. You get your leg articulation. I guess you could get some arm articulation, but I feel I'm going to break it. Also, the pilot figures do not set in there naturally. I did glue them into their seats, but they will probably remain securely in the box because I do not want them to fall off the shelf and break and be lost into the void. As we know, down here, everything falls into the void during reviews. Now, guns. We have Bazooka. Has no articulation to speak of, but on the back here, it does have a mounting point. You've got these two slots in right here, so that either one side or the other, however you like, that does rest up there, and that is part of its sprite in Super Robot Wars. I don't know how I like... Yeah, I think I like that a little better because then you can more realistically reach back and grab that handle up there. So facing him forward once more. And I'll bring this hand into play. And the handle has this tab in here. Each hand also has its own tab therein. So we're going to have to fully extend the arm. Can't do no bendies. Plug that. I am doing this blindsided, so. Come on, homie. There it is. I found it. No, I didn't. I failed. We can do this. It's not that difficult to do. As I get inside the shot. No, I didn't. There it goes. It was. I was aiming too low. There we go. And despite its size, it's very hollow and light. This is probably the most dense part of it. It's a bunch of sandwich pieces as well as, you know, the accessories. On the other... Now, here's what I don't like. I am personally left-handed. 99.999 repeating % of mobile weapons of any series are right-handed because most of the world is predominantly right-handed. So the gun here is only designed to be held in the right hand. I'm sure if I put it in the left hand it would still fit. It's just this would be jutting out. Up here you do have a bipod. And somewhere around here, there it is. There's also an optional extended bipod. But to me, it felt like if I try to take this on and off too many times, I might break something. We're not going to do that. We will, however, go right ahead and give this boy a left-handed weapon, because we do need left-handed representation, just like everything else needs its own fair and equal representation. Bam! Also holds that out very well, but he did dip a little bit forward, so of course, you know, spread your pose. There we go. It is a little... No, it's actually pretty damn secure in his hand. And the fingers do not get in the way of the peg itself. When you bring that in, you can see right there the peg at the middle finger. Right here. Very neat. Finally, the last item. We're going to have to pull these boys off without breaking anything, which is my want to do. Not break shit. There we go. Bazooka out. Rifle out. This is a series that did not have beam weapons, and we will bring forth the craziest, wildest weapon that you've ever seen. The Boomerang Idiom. That's what it's called. Each of these is individually placed missiles, so if you want to pull one of them out and pop it back in, this is fine. The set does come with, on the runners, one extra missile in case one of them goes missing, so I might have to clip that back out and keep that on hand. And as the tabs dictate, you have tabs here, and then little handlebar grips there. Pop each tab into each hand. Hopefully, anyway. I wish not to break anything. I do not want to break this expensive model. These were originally produced in 2005, so they're not that old, but they were recently re-released, as I probably stated during the unboxing. Like I said, it's been 2 weeks. Come on, boy. You can do it. Let's go, ZEON. Come on, man. It's not that hard. I don't want to break it. Might have to do this. another way by withdrawing. Oh no, why does this hand not want to come out? This is a problem. That was very stiff and very concerning. I did not like that, Sam. I am. And as soon as I take it off, it goes on there freaking smooth as silk. Which means that something has got to give somewhere. Concerning! I shouldn't be spending this much time on one feature. But it appears that it is quite possible that we did it. We managed to do it. And I feel very frightened for my model kit. And also it looks very funky. But anyway, we now hold the boomerang idiom. In series, he fires all the missiles and then literally throws it like a boomerang. Very efficient. You see that a lot in Super Robot Wars. I might, depending on copyright, put the animation right over here. The only other thing that I would want to get for this is a cheap plastic model, a plastic rocket model, for the sake of carrying it around ICBM toss. Fantastic. So, overall, your boys at Axis Communication Entertainment give this a fund it. I can only presume that the rest of the 1/100 scale Real Robot Revolution, which includes several other classic real robots, I think, not Votons, but Pat Labor, I don't know what else is in there. There's some good stuff in there, though. I would hope that the rest of those are as anime accurate as well as high quality as this. Even for 2005, I felt that this was high quality, considering that it looks so plain and simple, but when you really get up in there, you can see all the crazy panel lining. There's divots up here in the armor that you can see, you know, where all the steel plating has to be like bolted into place. It's just, and then there's so much internal detail that you will never see except during construction that they took into account because of how like rustic and classic this robot has to be, like reassembled on the fly. Like you actually have to go in and like bolt plates into place to replace it and then repaint it. Stuff that I like seeing, but you're not really going to see very much of in too many mecha anime. It's more like, oh, it's repaired, off to the next battle. So, if you just so happen to be at an anime convention, or you visit my preferred purchasing location of choice until I get sponsored of Hobby Search, check out one of your Real Robot Revolution boys. This is the Gallia Walker. I'm your boy Zappa, professional stage ninja, and as always, SIEG ZEON.